Hi YouTube, please give me a moment while I go live on Facebook. It'll take just a minute. Should be live on Facebook. What's going on, everybody? I am Sami Abasad, Director of Education at T3 Live. Welcome to the weekend edition of the Strategic Swing Trader. As always, thanks for tuning in. Before we start, also, as always, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss today is for educational purposes only. So make sure to agree to that before proceeding with this video. Also, if you haven't already, please go ahead and download a free copy of my ebook. Link is in the description for that. I also dropped a link in the description for a 2.5-minute video that I did on a pattern that we're going to talk about today. It's called the continuation 1, 2, 3 play. So link is in the description for that. And last but not least, if you would like to copy this list instead of having to type it up, I dropped the list. Also, I copied and pasted the list in the description of this video. So feel free to go ahead and copy it, paste it into your watch list, and so you can go over the charts alongside me here as I go over them. Okay. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the market, and then we'll take a look at the swing ideas for Monday. As always, if you find benefit in today's video, it'd help me out a lot if you hit the like button. Okay. All right, without further ado, let's get started. The market is all out bullish, of course, led by Apple, which is a almost $1.9 trillion company. I saw on the weekend it was 1.85 almost. So led by Apple, the market is just really bullish. We had the chance to roll over here if the market wanted to. If Apple wasn't Apple, Amazon, Facebook didn't come out with such positive earnings reports, we could have rolled over here. But clearly, the attempt to put in a lower high here. This was a lower high, lower than the prior high. This was a lower low, right? So this could have been the second lower high right here. So here's the highest high, lower low. The second lower high failed. So bias should be back to all out bullish. Q's, SPY is even more. It's not that it's more bullish, but it's right off the 20 MA on the daily chart. So SPY looks even better. IWM has relative weakness, of course. In fact, IWM yesterday ended the day down 1%, but still we can't look at this picture and say this is bearish. That's bullish. That's not bearish. Diamonds similar to the IWM. Oil had a reaction to the 20 MA on the weekly chart. So if you look at the weekly chart of USO, we had a sell setup right here, and notice the sell setup resulted in a breakdown on the daily chart, but the breakdown did not follow through. So oil should continue higher over the next few months, and I predict oil will be back to $50, or at least USO will be back to 40 to 50 in the next couple months, next few months. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but I'm predicting oil back to 48, let's say. Gold is the leader actually, and it's more bullish than the tech stocks, has been more bullish than the tech stocks. All-time highs. We are getting a wide range bar right here. We got a wide range bar last month, July. Today is August 1st. So this signals, possibly, one more month, maybe one more wide range bar, and we should have a pause or a pullback. When the bars get bigger and bigger, that signals exhaustion a little bit. To tell you the truth, the most bullish chart I can think of, other than gold, which is too extended at this point. If you're not already in gold, I wouldn't get in it right now, is the semis. And what's most impressive about the SMH, super bullish, is that it's doing it without its leader, which is Intel. Intel is actually the biggest semiconductors company in the US. Intel is in a world of its own right now. And so the semis is just really bullish without Intel. So that's pretty impressive. Okay, we talked about the market. I said the bias should be bullish. going forward until proven otherwise. I said that the market had the chance to roll over. failed to roll over, so back to all out bullish. I wasn't sure the last couple of weeks or so whether we were going to really come in or not to 240, and I thought, and even maybe to 230, 231, but we failed to make that lower high right here. So going forward, bias should go back to all out bullish. Okay, so that's at least my bias. Okay, now on to the list, which is what I know a lot of you are here for. So here's the list for Monday. If you're a subscriber to my newsletter, the Strategic Swing Trader, I've already created the newsletter for Monday. You can access it already. Of course, if you don't want to bother, you want to just wait for Monday, it'll hit your inbox by 8 a.m. on Monday morning before the market opens. But if you'd like to, if you're eager to see which plays I'm going to be taking, I picked 3 plays for us, for myself, for my own account, for Monday. Okay, from this list I picked 3, but here's the entire list. ABIO looks interesting as a long. I've been watching it for a while and it just hasn't triggered over 738. So I like this long as a transition. That's not bad. ABIO, it's also a weekly buy setup. Okay, this reminds me actually of the NNDM, which I've also watched for quite some time and just wouldn't trigger over 250. It's a weekly. Both of these are weekly buy setups. Okay, neither of which has triggered yet. So this one over 250, ABIO over 738 would be the entry. ALT did a buy setup and plus a 1, 2, 3. Now, I like it when the 1, 2, 3, if it's going to be on a buy setup. So here's the pullback. A buy setup means a pullback, right, in an uptrend. I like when the 1, 2, 3 forms not too far from the 20. Okay, so that's the 1, 2, 3, the doji bar. And that's this bar. So the entry is above it, 1 penny above it or so. Stop just 1 penny below it. Target would be about 35 bucks, okay, on the ALT. This pattern is very, very prominent in this week's list. I don't know why, it just happens to be the case. So I went ahead and dropped a link to a video that I did several months ago about this one pattern. I use this pattern every day at the open to enter into gap trades at the open, but I also use it in my swing trades. So okay, so I dropped a link in the description, at the bottom of the description of the video. It's just a short video, less than 3 minutes long, that teaches you the steps. There's like 3 or 4 steps to it, the actionable steps for this 1, 2, 3 continuation pattern. It applies to the upside, applies also when you're playing short. So in this case we got a 1, 2, 3 on the ALT. In this case we got a 1, 2, 3 on the AVTR. So 1, 2, 3 again. What it is it usually comes after a base, but sometimes comes after a daily pullback too. And then the base breaks out. You might think, oh darn, I missed it. Okay, and you did. If you're not in it that day, if you didn't get in it at the bottom of that bar, you missed it. But guess what? The 1, 2, 3 allows us to jump on board a stock that we technically have missed, because the entry for this should have been right here over the base, above the base. So up here we've already missed it, except that we really didn't. Now that we have a doji bar, entry above, stop just below. Okay, it prints 2 green bars in a row. I go bar by bar, and then I just, I don't do anything else. I stick with it until it trails me out automatically, so I don't have to worry about managing it or raising the stop. I just go bar by bar. Okay, CYH is a possible long-term play, by the way. Is a transition A on the weekly, better yet on the monthly. See this? That's a monthly transition A. This reminds me of the HTBX, which was a huge play in the newsletter this year. Was actually, I think, the second best play or third best. I'm not sure. This is a transition A on the monthly, and the HTBX, which was played at 91 cents. Okay, long. Went to $4. Okay. Now I didn't get out at 4.30, but still, it made a good amount of money. It was, as I said, I think it was the second or third best play. So CYH is very similar to the HTBX. Unfortunately, not on the daily. The daily of the HTBX looked much better right here. Much better right here as a long. So CYH is already far above the 20 on the daily, but it looks good on the long-term chart on the monthly and the weekly long over this, stop would be just under this doji bar. And then target could get up to 7, but I would say that would be target 2 and target 1 $6. Okay, around $6. I'm not trying to give you the exact target. You'd have to go to this bar's high, and notice in this case it's 583. Okay, so that's a CYH. EQT is a breakout. This is not a 1, 2, 3. This is a breakout. So over the base, like it higher, stop under. Target would be up here. Target 1, because I like it also on the monthly as a long-term play, and target 2 would be around $21. In fact, almost 22, 21.80 or so. Okay, so I like the EQT more as a longer-term play. IMV is like the ALT, but slightly more sloppy, but slightly better also because it has a double bottom. If you get a pullback, so here's the pattern, the pullback, the buy setup, and you can play it on the first buy setup, but if it gives you a W pattern, it becomes doubly better. It becomes twice as good. So we got kind of a double bottom right here. So long over this bar, stop below it, okay? And target the top, whatever it is. This bar is high. LPCN is just pure uptrend, pure power uptrend. So entry for this would be over 159 by 147. Just powerful uptrend. NEO is a breakout. I always, this is really important. I always like stocks that base at or near the 200, especially if it's just above the 200 and you have a 20 MA that comes from underneath and pushes the stock above. Oh my God, I love that stuff. In fact, was the HTBX like this? I don't remember. Yeah, look at the HTBX. See how it's based at the 200? So the HTBX, the first entry should have been right here, but I wasn't even aware of it. Probably I don't remember seeing it on a watch list. When it popped is when I started watching it, and then when it gave me that base breakout is when I got in it with a 10-cent stop. Okay, but I always love stocks that base just above the 200, and you have that 20, which is the blue line. The 200 is the red line, and you have that 20 MA comes from underneath and then pushes it higher. It doesn't have to come from underneath, but it has to base below the price. And you see what happened here. I'm not in it already, but I like it up here long over the base. Stop under this red bar's low, or if you want to give it a little more room, one can put the stop under also these two green bars. Okay, so I hope you learned something new. This is something that I look for all the time. Stocks basing above a flat 200, and then you get that rising 20 to squeeze, to create that squeeze or pinch play. All right, we talked about the NNDM already. Next is the PLG. PLG does not look, it's not a pattern I would play on the daily chart. It's too far above the 20. But check out the monthly on this. What does that remind you of? The HTBX, right? It's that transition A on the monthly chart. So I am watching the PLG. I do this video only once a week. So I update this list on a daily basis. So every day I have a new list from which I get my plays. I'm just sharing with you the list for Monday, but I update this list every day. So, but I don't do a video every day. I only do it once a week. So I'm just giving you a heads up that the PLG is a watch. I'm not ready to get in it here, but I'm going to be watching it this week, okay? And the coming weeks until it either breaks out or it already has broken out, but gives me another entry, or if it fails. If it fails, then okay, we'll just move on. We won't play it, okay? Because sometimes I watch things for a breakout and they never do. They fail. QCOM is like the AVTR, exact same pattern. See it? Qualcomm is the same as AVTR. Gapped up and then doji bar, so above, stop below. Okay? TTOO is like the ALT, but I have to say not as strong. And similar also to the other 1, 2, 3, which was the IMV. So this is a 1, 2, 3. That's a 1, 2, 3. After a pullback, that's a 1, 2, 3, and that's a 1, 2, 3. Which is why I dropped, as I said, a link to that video that I did explaining the 1, 2, 3 pattern. So long, stop, and target. Okay, on the TTOO. VIAC is a breakout, also kind of like a 1, 2, 3 right here. See it? Sort of. So over the base, over the double top, over the red bar, and over Friday's high, and then stop below it. Target probably the 200 MA, maybe slightly more, but I would target the 200 MA, especially since it also coincides with a pivot from June 8th, from just a couple months ago. And then last but not least is VUZI, which is a buy setup plus a 1, 2, 3 that has already triggered, but it's not too late still over this bar's high over 428 with a stop under 399. So that's the bullish list for Monday. Here's the bearish list, okay? IVZ, bearish list is not very good. And the market is all out bullish, so just FYI, I'm going to be focusing on the longs. But you never know. Sometimes news comes out and something happens. In fact, to tell you the truth, yesterday, Friday, was the first day that I started taking the earnings plays. And the ones that worked, 7 out of 8 plays that worked, were short. 7 out of 8, I believe 7 out of 8. Short. They're the ones that worked and made the money short. I'm talking UAA short, I'm talking Mohawk short, I'm talking Sky West short, I'm talking PSXP. Yeah, PSXP short, didn't drop that much. So those were, I'm talking Xilinx short. I don't remember what the other ones were, but those were all short and worked. So you never know, some of these shorts, even though the market is bullish, might work under the base on the IVZ. Stop above it and target would be somewhere here. Okay, so around, let's say $8 on the IVZ. JAKK is a 1, 2, 3 to the downside, but JAKK, I believe, was a secondary offering. It's also at support, so it may not, I'm not sure it's going to follow through. It's not my favorite, but I don't have that many on the list. Usually I don't really put this, wouldn't have put this on the list, but since I only have a few, I decided to give you my entire watch list. For example, the longs, I didn't give you my entire watch list. I'm just giving you the ones, I'm sharing with you the ones that I think are most ready. So in the case of the bearish list, I'm sharing with you my entire watch list for Monday because I don't have a long watch list and they're not very good. This one, SAVA, is not ready on the daily chart. In fact, I don't like it yet short on the daily chart, but check out the weekly. That's a nice weekly sell setup. So I like IVZ, not IVZ, SAVA short. It already triggered under 317 with a stop over 373. I'm not in it yet. I'm watching. I'm going to be watching this next week for an entry short. Tesla, I think, was on last week's video as a short. It was on last week's video. It's still on. Is going to be on this week's video. I think Tesla's lower, but the problem with Tesla is, you still have that rising 20. In order for the stock or the market to roll over after being in an uptrend, it has to collapse after going climactic. Or if it starts to base and rolls over, the 20 period moving average, which is this blue line, has to flatten out a little bit. So on Tesla, the 20 is not quite flat yet. So I'm not ready to do anything with it yet, even though if I had shorted last week, it would have been good. But maybe, it sets up as a 1, 2, 3, or it bases here for a couple more days. That would be ideal and allows the 20 MA to start flattening out, at least flattening out. Doesn't have to point down, but it needs to flatten out. And I think Tesla drops back down to $100. I think $1,000, that is. I think Tesla, on any correction in the market, is destined to drop back to $1,000. Is going to retest $1,000 if the market just slows down or corrects a little bit, and the market does not appear to want to do that at all. So I don't know if Tesla is going to do it anytime soon, but that would be my target, is $1,000. TUP had blowout earnings, I guess, as people are at home, you needing Tupperware, a lot of Tupperware. So TUP came back from the dead. This stock was just dead almost. Look at this, $1 stock just back in March. Even in April was $1.25, 26. And now it's at 15. That's impressive. That's 1,500% gain in a few months. Now, do we have a double top? Oh, maybe. It's a little too strong to short, but notice if this can flatten out a little bit, then Tuesday maybe or Wednesday short under the base, stop above. Target 1 would be the bottom of this green bar, and maybe target 2 the top of the base, which would be kind of a stretch. It would be unlikely that it would drop all the way down to $10, but you never know. VXRT is not a great pattern on the daily chart, but check out the hourly. It's a base breakdown on the hourly chart. Now, to tell you the truth, this is not a pattern that I recommend on the daily chart. It's not something I normally would suggest, But this stock, this is a list that I put together for me, okay, for me and my students to work off of and find trades from. And the reason why I put the VXRT is because this is a stock that I can read really well. I don't know why, but I can read it, I can sense it during the day. I often go to it. In fact, I think it's my third or fourth best trade this year for me. Third or best, I did more than one trade on it. But third or fourth best symbol for me this year. So HTZ is number one, and nothing's gonna ever catch this year. I don't think it's gonna catch the HTZ because it's so far above anything else. And so HTZ, MRO, TGE, VXRT, number 4 on the list. And look at this. I think by year end, VXRT will be number 2, at least number 2. I'm not gonna, I don't think it's gonna catch the HTZ, but I think it'll get to number 2, okay? On the list. So I can read it pretty well. I don't know why, but that is true. And I will be looking at it first thing on Monday, okay? Workhorse, maybe also topping out. A lot of these crazy stock that went completely berserk. I mean, went up thousands of percent in some cases. I mean, this went up 1,000% in about a month or two. Are slowing down. In fact, a lot of them have crashed already, came all the way back down. So this one might be next here. So you see that flat 20 MA? I wish Tesla was like this on the daily. Then I'd do it short. But you see this? So this one I'm going to be watching short. On the hourly chart is not quite ready. I also like it when the 20 is above price, like so, not through price, not going through price. But I'm going to be watching this potentially as a short, okay? So not quite ready. I'm not going to be playing any of these on Monday except for the VXRT as a potential day trade probably. But I did pick 3 from this list, 3 items from this list for Monday. So if you're a subscriber, again, feel free to log on to your account and you'll see which ones I picked. But with that said, hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, if you did, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. And if you have any questions, reach out to us at info@t3live.com. Again, info@t3live.com. With that said, have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Take care, everybody.